Hey, boys and girls. It's time to go to chapter one. Last week we read the prologue, and this week we're going to start chapter one for Greyson Gray Camp Legend. Ready? Here we go. Chapter one, 4 days ago, Sunday afternoon. I still remember the legends and pranks my counselor pulled on me 10 years ago, CJ said as he stuck a loop of masking tape onto one of the incoming campers' room signs on the third floor of Bickford Hall, the future home of 18 seventh grade campers. The observatory legend, the legend of Paul Newton's squirt gun wars at night. The veteran counselor closed his eyes as sweet memories played like a movie in his mind. Brandon smiled and shook his head as he pressed the last room sign onto one of the future campers' doors. Morris College All Sports Camp, Cowboys Gold, Greyson Gray, Major, Rugby, Minor, Rock Climbing, Minor 2, Horseback Riding. Brandon smoothed the sign out and turned to CJ. Legends, huh? CJ grinned mischievously, mounting one of his own Cowboys Purple signs up across the hall. I tell you all about them, but the legends are not something to be shared loosely, CJ whispered. Tonight, prepare your kids. Build up the suspense. Turn out the lights and all. I'll come by and let you see how it's done. Then the fun is all yours. You can even make up your own legend if a kid asks some dumb question you don't feel deserves an honest answer. Brandon's thoughts wandered to the week ahead. Babysitting 9 seventh graders from morning to night. Would it be as bad as some said it can be? Well, it's almost that time, CJ warned, interrupting his thoughts. The early ones are probably heading here from the rec center right now. Brandon shook off the nerves tingling up his spine and was about to head to the room for one last moment of peace when he heard voices rising from the stairway. This is it, Sammy, third floor. I'm a cowboy gold, came the lispy reply. Does that mean I have to paint myself gold? I'd rather be a cowboy albino. A boy emerged from the staircase with a suitcase in his left hand, an oversized backpack that hung down to his knees, and a huge box fan wobbling precariously under his right arm. His short, black hair was matted to the side, and his thick eyelashes were dark enough that one might think he used eyeliner. A slightly lazy left eye offset a ridiculous smile that revealed a need for braces in the future. His gray-haired grandmother followed him closely, lugging another 2 suitcases. Brandon sighed inwardly but rushed over to introduce himself. Hi, I'm Brandon. I'll be your counselor for the week. Or are you? The boy furrowed his brow and puckered his mouth to one side as his lazy eye rolled inward toward his nose. Brandon froze, his arms still extended for a handshake. His lips moved to speak, but he didn't know how to respond. Yeah, I am. And your name is? I'm Thammy, but only people call me that. Brandon laughed, thinking this might all be a joke. He glanced at the grandmother, hoping for an ally or some explanation of Sammy's strange behavior, but she was glaring at him like he had just farted in church. Aren't you going to take his things, boy? Uh, yes, sorry. Let me take those for you, Sammy. Brandon offered as he reached out for the suitcase and fan. If you'll follow me, your room is just down this hall. As Brandon led them past his own room, he could hear CJ laughing inside. Did CJ know this kid? There at the window, Grandma. I can see outside. Grandma's words were softened with love. That's good, Sammy dear. But that means the squirrels can look in too. They'll be eyeing my nuts. Brandon choked and quickly faked a cough to camouflage his shock before Sammy removed a large package of salted peanuts from his backpack and hugged them close to his chest. I'm nuts for nuts. Even my thirst is salty. Brandon nodded awkwardly and blurted his exit plan. Well, feel free to unpack your things and make yourself at home. I'll be in my room just down the hall if you have any questions. He left before he could hear a response and rushed into his room where CJ was on his bed nodding with a knowing smirk. Brandon flopped face down onto his bed. What the heck? CJ laughed and turned toward Brandon. Good luck with that one. He comes every year and is always a handful. He's funny, though. Are they all going to be like him? CJ took a reassuring tone. Nah, there's always one that makes it worth it. Well, usually. Greyson Gray held his mother's hand, her wedding bands lightly pressing between his fingers. He felt his mother's attention and looked up at her as they approached the large, capital-like building with shining gold letters printed on the side. Bickford Hall. Grayson's mother let go of his hand and ran her fingers through the brown hair sticking out of the sides of his worn red baseball cap with a white G stitched on the front. Smiling faintly, he tried to put on a happy face for his mother, but something restrained it. He hadn't been happy enough and to truly smile in months. In fact, it had been 10 months and 13 days. Grayson? Yeah, he replied in his quiet, still boyish voice. This is Bickford Hall. I know. His mother smiled bleakly and knelt beside him. Their eyes held fast to one another for a moment, knowing each other's pain. But she was first to look away, not able to bear it much longer. With a new determination, she reached around him, pulling and shifting the straps of his heavy backpack. You sure you have everything you all need? Yep. Do you know where you're going? Third floor. She nodded slowly, smoothing out his snug white t-shirt and taking one last look into his calm green eyes. Remember, do to others what you would want them to do to you. I will. And try to have fun, Grays. She pinched the tip of his nose, but his smile remained stagnant. Gray, I want to see your smiling face and hear you laugh again. Tears welled up in his mother's eyes, but she brushed them away, laughing lightly. And I'm sure all the cute girls here will, too. Grayson blushed and looked at his feet. Okay, Mom, I'll try. Dad was a little ladies' man at your age, you know. Grayson's face stiffened and he looked into his mother's eyes. Or at least he claimed he was. She smiled and lost herself in a daydream for a moment. Snapping back to reality, she spoke softly. He would want you to be happy, you know that, right? I know. Then do something about it. If you know something needs to change and you have the power to do it, you just do it. Dad thought he had the power. Grayson, she snapped. Well, something must have happened to Grayson's dad. I have some ideas. The boy stopped abruptly. He looked past her at the giant concrete building just paces ahead and watched the parents and children parading to their destinations, children's with their moms and dads. Grayson, I'll be back on Friday to watch you in the Camp Olympics. Promise me you'll be smiling by then. I need you back. His mother held out her hand with her pinky outstretched. Grayson sighed and noticed a group of boys gazing at the woman holding out her pinky. Oh, don't mind what they think of us. Do you promise? Grayson reached out his pinky. Oh, I must have skipped a page. Hang on. And grabbed his mother's. They shook twice and released. Then, before he could resist, his mother pulled him to her and squeezed him so close the brim of his hat pressed against her and fell to the ground. Feeling the unfamiliar breeze on his hair, Grayson gasped and squirmed free from the embrace. Like a whip, his hand shot to the hat and shoved it back onto his head. Crisis averted. He repositioned it right and offered a faint smile to his mother. She stood up and nodded with an understanding sigh. Have a great week. Love you. Love you too. Grayson watched her walk down the winding sidewalk until she turned a corner past the recreation building. When she was gone, he turned, looked up at the colossal Bickford Hall and glittering gold letters, and made his way to his room. Boys and girls, I've got to go. So we'll pick up this chapter when I come next week. When we come back, I'll read a few more pages. I hope you're enjoying. Talk to you soon. Bye.